Do you ever feel that that constant pull towards just more things, more achievements, definitely more screen time, and you end up wondering, maybe feeling a bit overwhelmed or just frankly tired? Is there like a different way? What does a simple life even look like today in this crazy, demanding world? That's the really big question we're getting into today. We're doing a deep dive into a fascinating source. Chapter 80, called Simple Life, from the BFG Handbook. It looks at the Tao Te Ching, that ancient wisdom, but through a Christian perspective.
Exactly. It's not a straight translation, more like a devotional guide, finding these amazing points of connection between Eastern philosophy and Christian teaching.
Yeah, it's pretty unique. So our mission today is to really unpack this vision of simplicity it presents. We want to pull out the lessons, which are surprisingly relevant, maybe even radical, and see how they can actually help us navigate our lives right now.
It's a really rich source, bringing together these two deep wells of wisdom. So first, we'll try to paint a picture of this simple life from chapter 80. What does it actually look like? Then we'll explore how its core ideas give us a kind of framework, what the handbook calls a Trinitarian MAP, for changing our thinking, our goals, our daily actions.
And this is where it gets really interesting, I think. We'll see how these same principles pop up in, well, lots of major world religions. It points towards these, like, universal truths that maybe, just maybe, could bring us a bit closer together.
It really could.
Okay, let's dive in. Let's really explore this vision from chapter 80. So help us picture this. It describes this small, sort of idealized country, right, with just a few people. And what's striking straight away is their attitude to, well, technology, I guess. They have things like labor-saving machines, tools, even boats and carriages.
Right, they're not technologically backward.
No,
Yeah.
But they just don't use them to go far or expand. They seem content where they are.
It's a conscious choice.
Yeah, and it says they take death seriously, so they avoid risky, long journeys. That's interesting. They even have armor and weapons, apparently, but absolutely no need for them.
Peace is the reality there.
And they're rooted in tradition. They go back to simple ways, like tying knots, whatever that specifically means. It sounds fundamental.
Grounded.
Totally. And they genuinely enjoy simple things. Plain food tastes good. Simple clothes are fine.
There's a deep contentment.
You feel it in the description. Content in their homes, enjoying their traditions. And maybe the most powerful part, neighboring countries are super close. You can hear their dogs and roosters.
Right next door, practically.
But they just leave each other alone in peace. They grow old and die without visiting trouble between them.
The powerful image, isn't it?
Yeah.
This chapter from the Tao Te Ching originally presents this ideal of, well, radical simplicity and peace. And the BFG Handbook sees this as a metaphor, really, for the kind of life Jesus talked about. You know, a life free from that constant chase for wealth, status, all the anxieties that just weigh us down. Yeah, think about Matthew 6, for example, verses 25 to 34, where Jesus says, you know, don't worry about what you'll eat or wear, trust God. These people in chapter 80, they seem to just live that trust. And choosing not to travel far, or not needing weapons. It's not about being scared or isolated. It's about being free from worldly ambition, free from conflict.
Right. No need for conquest or defense.
Exactly. And their contentment with simple things, food, clothes. It echoes Philippians 4, where Paul says he learned contentment in any situation.
Rich or poor, yeah.
And it reminds me of Jesus' words in Matthew 11. Come to me, all you who are weary. My yoke is easy. There's a lightness there.
A release from burden.
Yes. And that peaceful coexistence with neighbors, even being so close. That really speaks to Romans 12. If possible, so far as it depends on you, live peaceably with all. So this chapter isn't just some quaint old story. It feels like an invitation for us now to maybe rediscover a simplicity God wants for us, to push back against materialism and all its stress and find that real peace and contentment that's actually on offer.
That's a really powerful way to frame it, bringing this ancient idea right into today. So, okay, the million-dollar question then is, how? How do we actually cultivate that kind of, well, radical simplicity in our own lives, which are, let's face it, pretty complex? And the BFG Handbook offers this practical approach, this Trinitarian MAP, for what it calls renewal. And just so everyone's clear, renewal isn't an acronym here, it's the goal, the transformation itself.
Correct. It's the process.
Where God's love shapes our mindset, trust in Jesus directs our aim, and faith in the Holy Spirit guides our practice. MAP, mindset, aim, practice.
A really helpful structure.
So let's dig into that MAP, starting with the M mindset, how we think. How does this chapter shape our thinking?
Mindset is foundational, isn't it? Where everything starts. You can't really change behavior long-term without shifting the underlying mindset.
Okay, first mindset point, living simply and contentedly. Chapter 80 says, they find their plain food pleasant and their simple clothes fine. What does that mindset look like for us beyond just, don't be materialistic?
Well, it's deeper than just not wanting stuff. It's about actively cultivating a mindset that finds real satisfaction in the essentials. It's about thinking what I have is actually enough, fostering genuine gratitude for it, rediscovering joy in the small things.
Which is hard when we're constantly told we need the next thing.
Exactly. It's totally countercultural. It means mentally resisting that constant comparison game, resisting buying things just out of desire or habit. Think about phones. Instead of that automatic upgrade itch, it's shifting your mindset to appreciate the amazing thing you already have in your pocket. But godliness with contentment is great game. It's a mindset focused on that inner game piece, freedom.
Okay, that makes sense. But what about all the conveniences we do have? The labor-saving machines. Chapter 80 says they had them but didn't use them. How does that translate into a mindset of living with moderation today without, becoming a Luddite?
Yeah, it's definitely not about ditching your washing machine. It's about the mindset behind how we use things. The key is avoiding over-reliance, seeing technology convenience as tools, helpful tools even, but not our masters.
Okay. The distinction is important.
Very. The mindset challenges us to ask, is this tool actually enhancing my life, my presence, my connections? Or is it subtly taking away from them?
Like endless scrolling versus a real conversation.
Precisely. So a mindset shift might mean setting boundaries with your phone or social media, not as a punishment, but as a way to protect your time and attention for other things. Family, nature, hobbies.
Things that require focus.
Yes. Proverbs 15.16 says, better is a little with the fear of the Lord than great treasure and trouble with it. That at little could be less digital noise, maybe more peace.
Okay, let's talk relationships. The chapter's image of neighbors living peacefully, never causing trouble for each other. In our often polarized world, how does this become a mindset of fostering peace and avoiding conflict?
This mindset puts harmony first. It's about consciously thinking peace is more valuable than being right here. It means training your mind to try and understand before judging, to listen more than you speak, maybe, to choose reconciliation even when it's tough.
Letting go of grudges, that's a mindset shift.
It's proactive. It's deciding before the conflict happens that you value unity. Jesus put it so clearly in Matthew 5.9, right? Blessed are the peacemakers. It's a mindset aiming for that blessedness. Building bridges, not walls.
Yeah. Okay, this next one's really interesting, especially in our sort of risk-taking culture. They take death seriously, so they do not risk life by traveling far. How does that inform a mindset of living with prudence and awareness?
Again, it's not about fear, I don't think. It's about wisdom. A mindset rooted in appreciating how precious and, fragile life is. It encourages a mindset of thinking through consequences, not just acting on impulse.
So before a big decision.
Exactly. Financial, career, personal. This mindset prompts you to pause, reflect, weigh the risks and rewards thoughtfully. Does this align with my values, my long-term goals? Is it just chasing something fleeting?
Instead of just jumping in.
Right. Proverbs 27.1 is blunt. Do not boast about tomorrow, for you do not know what a day may bring. It's a call for a mindful, intentional approach to life choices.
Okay. And the last mindset point from that lovely image. They return to their simple ways, tying knots, finding joy in the ordinary. What's the mindset here?
This is about actively cultivating gratitude for and finding beauty in the simple stuff, tasks, the routines. It's thinking differently about the mundane. So making dinner isn't just a chore, it's an act of care, maybe an act of gratitude. Tidying up is creating peace.
Seeing the sacred in the ordinary.
Beautifully put. It's being present in those moments. Colossians 3.23 says, whatever you do, work at it with all your heart as working for the Lord. That elevates everything, doesn't it?
It really does. Wow. Okay, so that's mindset. A really different way of thinking about life, simplicity, peace, our choices. Now, pivot to the A in MAP,
right?
What we focus on, our intentions. How do these principles shape our direction?
AIM is about where we're steering the ship, intentionally directing our focus and energy towards these values, making them our target.
So first aim, building on contentment. How do we actively aim for simplicity and contentment when everything screams more? Again, that line, they find their plain food pleasant and their simple clothes fine.
The aim here is to consciously prioritize being content with what we have, to deliberately value simplicity over excess. It means aiming to resist that external pressure for the newest, latest thing. The aim is internal. Cultivate thankfulness for the basics. Look for the small joys. You might aim to get creative with what you own, like your clothes, instead of automatically buying new. Aim to appreciate your home, your food, your relationships as blessings, not things to be upgraded.
Aiming for that great gain from 1 Timothy 6.6 again.
Exactly. Aiming for true wealth, which is contentment.
Okay. And if the aim isn't rejecting tech, but using it wisely, how do we aim for balance and moderation? What's the modern aim equivalent of having machines but not using them excessively?
The aim is deliberate, mindful use, aiming to ensure technology serves us, not the other way around. We aim to prevent it from dominating our time and disconnecting us from real life, from face-to-face connection, from the present moment.
So an aim could be setting specific tech boundaries.
Yes. Aiming to not check your phone first thing in the morning, maybe. Aiming to carve out dedicated time for relationships or activities that really nourish you offline.
It's aiming for that better is a little, from Proverbs 15, less noise, more substance.
Precisely. Aiming for a truly better quality of life.
And for peace. How do we aim for peace and reconciliation? The people in the chapter just were peaceful. How do we make that an active aim?
We have to make peace a primary target in our relationships. Aiming for resolution, for harmony, not letting bitterness take root. It means aiming to choose forgiveness and understanding, even when our instincts might scream otherwise.
So like aiming to be the first to apologize.
Or aiming to approach conflict with kindness and patience, seeking a solution together. It's aiming to embody that peacemaker blessing from Matthew 5.9, a conscious, active aim.
Now, for decision-making wisdom, they take death seriously. How does that help us aim for wisdom and prudence?
It directs our aim towards making choices thoughtfully, considering the long view. It's aiming to approach big steps, career moves, major purchases, even travel with a mindful awareness of potential impacts and our own limitations.
So the aim is careful consideration.
Yes. Aiming to take time for reflection, maybe prayer, seeking wise advice before leaping. Aiming to ensure our choices align with our deepest values and goals, not just short-term desires.
Aiming to live thoughtfully, remembering Proverbs 27.1, do not boast about tomorrow.
Exactly. Aiming for enduring well-being, not just fleeting success.
And finally, for aim, that simple tying knots. How does that help us aim for mindfulness and gratitude in our really busy lives?
The aim is to find beauty and purpose in the simple, everyday stuff, to actively cultivate mindfulness in whatever we're doing. It means aiming to be fully present. So when you're preparing food, aim to do it with intention, with thankfulness. When you rest, aim to really rest, not just fill the space with more noise.
Aiming to live each moment with heart, like Colossians 3.23 suggests.
Yes. Aiming to infuse the ordinary with meaning. Keeping these aims in front of us helps steer us through the complexities of modern life with more focus, more peace.
Okay, mindset, how we think, aim, what we focus on. Now the P practice, how we actually act, the rubber hitting the road. How do these principles show up in our daily behavior?
Exactly. Practice is where intention meets action. It's about embodying these values day to day. It's the discipline of living it out.
So let's start with practice simplicity and contentment. Living out that idea of finding plain food, pleasant and simple clothes, fine. What does that practice look like?
It means actively practicing a lifestyle of gratitude. It's not just thinking, I should be content. It's doing things that cultivate contentment. This might mean practicing decluttering, actually setting aside time to simplify your space, or practicing intentional spending reduction for a period.
Tangible actions.
Yes, and practicing finding joy in the everyday. Making time for that family meal, that walk, that quiet moment, and consciously appreciating it is practicing 1 Timothy 6.6, actively seeking that great gain.
Right. And for moderation with technology, they had machines but didn't use them. How do we practice moderation and balance?
The practice here is setting and sticking to actual boundaries, using our resources, including tech, wisely. So practice having specific times for email or social media and then turning them off. Practice replacing some screen time with face-to-face interaction or exercise or a hobby.
It's about actively choosing balance.
Actively practicing it, making it a habit. This practice helps us live more fully, more presently, embodying that wisdom from Proverbs 15, choosing the little with peace over treasure with trouble.
And living peaceably with neighbors, like in chapter 80. How do we practice peace and reconciliation daily?
We have to practice being peacemakers. It's an active role. Practice forgiving quickly. Practice seeking understanding when there's conflict. Practice letting go of the need to be right.
Taking the first step sometimes.
Absolutely. Practice initiating reconciliation if there's a misunderstanding, even if it's hard. It's the daily practice of living out Matthew 5.9, being those children of God who make peace.
Okay. And regarding wise decisions, they take death seriously. How does that guide our practice of wisdom and discernment?
The practice is making thoughtful decision-making a habit. considering long-term effects. So practice pausing before big choices. Practice praying or meditating on it. Practice seeking advice from people you trust. Practice evaluating options against your core values and goals.
Not just reacting.
Right. It's practicing James 1.5, actively asking for and acting with wisdom in our choices.
And finally, that tying knots idea again, for practice mindfulness and gratitude.
The practice is about bringing intentional awareness into everyday moments. Practice appreciating small things daily. Maybe practice seeing chores like housework as service, as caring for your space. Practice really tasting your food and being thankful for it. Practice putting your phone away during conversations to be fully present.
Making mindfulness a conscious action.
Yes. It's practicing Colossians 3.23, doing whatever you do with all your heart as for God. These practices, done consistently, are how we really align our lives with these deep principles and find that fulfillment. And what's really striking as we lay all this out is how much these core ideas, simplicity, moderation, peace, wisdom, mindfulness, echo across so many different spiritual traditions. It's not just a Christian or Taoist thing. This leads us naturally into our final section, Respond, looking at how these shared truths can actually foster unity.
Okay, I'm really interested in this part. Universal truths.
Let's take simplicity and contentment. That idea of plain food, pleasant, simple clothes, fine. Well, Islam in the Quran, 25.67, praises those who are balanced, neither wasteful nor stingy. Buddhism's Dhammapada flat out says contentment is the greatest wealth. And Hinduism's Bhagavad Gita 4.22 talks about being satisfied with whatever comes, free from envy. And how does this unite us? Shifts the focus, doesn't it? Away from competing for stuff, towards shared values like inner peace and spiritual growth.
Less division over material things.
Exactly. Think about communities working together based on simple living, sharing resources, rather than just consumption. It fosters practical understanding when we reassess our desires together.
Okay, what about moderation and balance? Not using those machines excessively.
Also universal. Islam, through hadith, like Sahih Bukhari, often emphasizes consistency and avoiding extremes. Regular small actions are better than erratic big ones. Buddhism is famous for the middle way, Dhammapada 2.23, avoiding both self-indulgence and severe asceticism. And the Bhagavad Gita says a spiritual person is moderate in eating, sleeping, recreation, work.
Balance everywhere.
Yes, it unites us by promoting this shared wisdom about sustainable living, about well-being. It stops the pendulum swings to extremes that cause suffering. Practicing this across cultures, setting boundaries with tech, work, making time for rest, could lead to a healthier global society, really.
Makes sense. And peace and reconciliation, leaving neighbors untroubled.
Oh, huge one. Islam's Quran 49.9 directly commands making peace between conflicting groups. Buddhism's Dhammapada 5 has that incredibly powerful line, hatred never ceases by hatred, but by love alone. Hinduism's Gita 16.3 lists freedom from anger and malice as divine qualities.
Love over hate, peace over conflict. It's fundamental.
Absolutely. Conflict divides, peace unites. Practicing this, dialogue, forgiveness, seeking understanding, isn't just personal. It's the foundation for interfaith harmony, for global peace.
Yeah. Okay, fourth, prudence and discernment. Taking life seriously, not risking it needlessly.
Again, echoes everywhere. We mentioned Proverbs 22.3 about the prudent seeing danger. Islam's Quran, 2.195, warns against throwing oneself into destruction. Buddhism's Dhammapada, 63, says a fool who knows they're a fool is wise for that reason. It's about awareness. And the Gita, 2.47, advises acting wisely, considering consequences, not just chasing results.
So thoughtfulness is a universal virtue.
You seem so. It unites us by promoting a shared ethic of responsibility. In finance, health, relationships, making careful choices benefits everyone. It fosters stability.
Right. And finally, mindfulness and gratitude, that tying knots idea.
It's so resonant. Islam's Quran 73.8 speaks of remembering God's name with complete devotion being present. Buddhism's Dhammapada urges focusing the mind, being watchful. Mindfulness is central. Hinduism's Gita 18.19 describes the mode of goodness involving control of the mind and senses, implying presence.
Being present, being grateful.
It connects us all. It cuts through anxiety about past and future, grounding us in the now, fostering thankfulness, deepening our connection to the divine however we understand it. Practicing this together, really listening, savoring moments, builds a more compassionate, connected human family.
Wow. What an amazing thread running through all these different paths. This whole deep dive into just one chapter, chapter 80 of the BFG Handbook, has really opened up so much. It feels like these principles, simplicity, peace, moderation, wisdom, mindfulness, They aren't just old ideas, they're like living pathways for us now. Practical pathways to maybe find some real peace and, fulfillment in this complicated world.
Yeah.
And seeing them echoed everywhere is. So as we wrap up, here's something for you, our listener, to maybe mull over today. What simple, not tying tradition, or maybe just an everyday activity could you intentionally return to, or perhaps embrace more fully? Something simple in your own life that might help you cultivate a deeper sense of peace and contentment right in the middle of everything else. What could that be for you?